My name is Riley, and I'm 29 years old. I'm currently divorced, and I want to tell you how I got here. Ever since I can remember, I've always loved adventures. I enjoy exploring new places, finding unknown things, and discovering the beauty of the world. It's a big part of who I am. When Keith and I first met, we felt a strong connection. But right from the start, I knew that my love for adventure would be important in our relationship. I told Keith that the best experiences in life happen when we step out of our comfort zones. He liked my lively spirit, but he struggled with my love for exploring new things. We often disagreed because he didn't understand why I enjoyed trying new stuff. Keith was afraid of the unknown and liked having a stable life, while I loved traveling and going on adventures. This difference in our preferences made things challenging for us. Every time we talked about my love for adventure, we could never come to a compromise or an understanding. I need you to understand that it's a big part of who I am. I mean, we only have one life. It's meant to be lived fully, and that means trying new things, I would say. I know, but it's not that easy for me. I like stability, and I get so worried about the risks. What if something goes wrong? What if we lose everything? Keith would respond. But life is all about taking careful risks and growing from them. I don't want you to give up on stability. I just want you to support me and trust that I can handle challenges, I explained. It's not just about trust. I want a secure and predictable life. I thought we were building that together, and your constant need for adventure feels like it's going against that, he countered. I love you, and of course, I want to build a beautiful life with you, but that doesn't mean that I should give up on things that interest me, right? Please, can we just find a middle ground where we can have stability and new experiences together? I pleaded. Fine. I want to find that middle ground too, but it's scary for me. Can we take small steps towards adventure instead of big ones? He asked. Of course, darling. Let's start by talking about small adventures we can do together, I suggested. A small adventure like what? He inquired. Oh, we can go camping or rent a farmhouse in the countryside, I proposed. That actually sounds lovely, he agreed. Even though Keith and I were different, I never stopped loving him. Our special moments together meant a lot to me, and we were very close. I knew it was important to find a way to make both our needs work, so I tried hard to balance my love for adventure and his wish for stability. It was like a gentle dance, needing patience and understanding to meet each other halfway. I involved Keith in my adventures whenever I could to show him how amazing it could be to step out of his comfort zone. With time, he began to see the beauty of trying new things and taking risks. Meet Gertie, my mother-in-law. Ever since I joined Keith's life, she didn't like me. I could feel her disapproval, but I hoped love would make things better. Sadly, Gertie had different plans. She cleverly influenced Keith, making him doubt me with hurtful words. Our strong bond started to break because of her. Gertie made Keith think my love for adventure was bad, not something wonderful about me. It's tough to talk about, but I'll try to explain how Gertie changed Keith's feelings about me. It happened slowly, and it made our strong bond weaker and made us feel uneasy. Gertie felt like I threatened her control over Keith. She didn't like my independent and adventurous side because it was different from what their family was used to. In the beginning, Gertie showed she didn't like me by making mean comments, acting dismissive, and being indirectly unkind. It felt like she wanted Keith to doubt our relationship and wonder if we should be together. Gertie used Keith's weaknesses to manipulate how he felt. She used Keith's fear of my love for adventure to make him think it was causing problems in our marriage. But I didn't want my adventurous side to harm our relationship. It's a big part of who I am, and it makes me feel alive. I believe that trying new things would help us grow and become closer as a couple. Gertie tricked Keith by pretending to be a concerned mother, but she made sure that he only focused on all the bad parts of the arguments and completely ignored any logic. I can see that Riley's love for adventure is causing tension between you two. I'm worried about your future together. Have you thought about the consequences of her constant desire for new things? Well, I love Riley, but her need for concert adventure overwhelms me. Are you worried about how she's funding these trips and adventures? Well, I know she's always planned her trips months in advance and saves up for them. She always knows how to get the best deals and all that. Basically, I'm not worried about that. It's just how frequently she wants to do it. Every other month needs to be an adventure. I can't do that. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it either. Marriage needs stability. Riley's adventures seem fun, but they can also bring in a lot of instability. Is that the life you want? I don't want a boring life, but I also don't want to be worried all the time. I want some normalcy and peace, sprinkled with a little adventure. You deserve that. Tough to talk to Riley about this. We're so different. I don't want to lose her, but I'm scared. I want you to be happy. Talk to Riley honestly. Tell her you can't keep up with her. And you also want her around you. Letting her go on solo trips won't solve the issue. Keith's stats grew, and we found it hard to talk openly. Gertie had come between us, and it felt impossible to fix things. Keith was influenced by her, and he didn't want to reconnect with me. Our arguments were about upcoming vacations, and things got really tense. Gertie used this to make our relationship worse, saying the trip was just a distraction. Keith thought my love for adventure was betraying our commitment to stability, and Gertie blames me for everything. Keith turned against me because of Gertie's manipulative actions, and how she used his weaknesses against him. It was really sad to see the person I loved being influenced by her toxic behavior. The trip we had planned was supposed to make us closer, but it ended up changing our relationship in a bad way. Gertie and Keith came up with a sneaky plan to ruin our trip. They hid my passport so we couldn't go. It hurt a lot because I trusted them, but they betrayed me. Gertie didn't like my adventurous nature because it challenged their family's routines and stability. Gertie and Keith planned their scheme pretty well. They knew how important this trip was to me, so Gertie had to choose the right moment to act when Keith and I were busy taking care of the last few preparations for the journey, just shopping for some utilities that we wanted to carry with us. She sneaked into our bedroom. Gertie searched for my passport and took it without me knowing. Keith acted like he didn't know about it, but he was part of her plan. It hurt even more because my own husband and mother-in-law planned to hurt me. A few days before our trip, I felt like something was wrong. I couldn't find my passport, which I needed for the journey. I searched everywhere, hoping it was just lost. But after a few hours passed, I knew someone had done something on purpose. I felt scared and confused, betrayed by the people I loved. I felt desperate, so I decided to talk to Gertie. I had a feeling she was involved, so I asked her for help in finding my passport. Gertie, I've been searching high and low for my passport, and I can't seem to find it anywhere. Do you think there's any chance it got mixed up with your things? Oh, I highly doubt that. I haven't seen your passport anywhere near my things. Are you sure you didn't misplace it? I have a gut feeling that something's not right. It's kind of funny how my passport suddenly vanished, if I'm being completely honest. And I have to say that I think you have something to do with it. You're being ridiculous. Why would I do something like that? I have no reason to hide or take your passport. This is just a misunderstanding. You seem nervous. No, I don't. Yes, you do. You're stumbling over your words. You're also giving me very stupid excuses, and you're trying to divert the conversation. It's obvious that you're hiding something. I trusted you as family, but it seems like I shouldn't have. You're being unfair. I've always had Keith's best interests at heart. I only want what's best for both of you. Why would I take away your passport? Why wouldn't I think that you stole my passport? You've tried to keep against me. I know you've been telling him that my constant need to travel and have an adventure is going to lead to our marriage falling apart. Now, my passport conveniently goes missing. It's time to stop pretending and admit that you took my passport. How dare you accuse me of such things? I've done nothing wrong. I don't care if you don't believe me. Even though I don't like how you travel a lot, I would never purposely ruin my son's trip by taking away your passport. Look, you can keep trying to tell me that you didn't do it, but I know you. And I know how far you'll go to get the things that you want. I will find my passports, and if I find out that you hid it, I will make you regret it. I knew in my heart that Gertie had something to do with my passport's sudden disappearance. I just needed to figure out how she would have done it. Then a sudden thought struck me. I remembered how insistent Keith was to go run out errands a couple of days ago. I told him multiple times that we could just go buy those things on our trip, especially because all he wanted to buy was shampoo and some snacks to carry. Even Gertie came into our room to persuade me to leave. So it was all just their plan to get me out of the house and stop me from going on this trip. At that moment, I realized that I needed to take charge of my life and get the justice I deserved. I decided to expose their lies and break free from their toxic behaviors. A day before the trip, Gertie and Keith had gone out of the house to run some errands that Gertie had to run. I took full use of the opportunity presented to me and started searching the whole house to find the truth. I searched everywhere for that passport. I looked through cupboards and drawers. I even went to check the garage. I was just about to give up when I decided to look through Gertie's room for the last time, and guess what I found? A secret compartment in Gertie's closet. Inside, hidden away, was my missing passport. I couldn't believe it. I felt a mix of shock, anger, and clarity. It made me realize just how far the both of them would go to try and control me. I felt hurt knowing that the people I love would do something so mean, but I wasn't going to let it slide. I wanted to get back at them. I decided to take control because I was angry and wanted to show them I was strong. While still standing in Gertie's room, a thought struck my mind. Since she wanted to sabotage this trip for me, I could do the same thing for her. I had seen her passport in the dressing table's drawer, so I grabbed it and hid it in my room. But it didn't feel right to stop there, so I booked new tickets to a beautiful place far from our original plans. It was a place where I could go find peace and have adventures and rediscover myself. I decided to leave Keith behind and go on my journey to the paradise I deserved. Finally, it was time for us to go on our trip. I acted like everything was in place and didn't say much to Eva, Keith, or Gertie before we left the house. I made sure not to ask the other two to check for their passports, and they didn't bring it up either. They kept looking at each other and grinning, thinking that I couldn't see them. I offhandedly asked them why they kept grinning at each other, and Keith told me that they were just happy to go on a trip together. I excitedly told them that I was too. This made Gertie laugh because she thought that she was going to successfully spoil my excitement. Finally, we arrived at the airport. When it came time to check in, Gertie and Keith looked at me with a mischievous smile. They looked like they were holding back laughter as they waited for me to start panicking about not finding my passport. But I wasn't going to let them have that satisfaction. I pulled out my passport and looked at their faces. Their jaws had dropped, and they looked at each other in confusion. Well, it seems I found my passport after all. And since we're all here at the airport, how about we make sure everyone has their travel documents in order? Gertie, why don't you check your bag to see if your passport is there? My passport? Oh, I'm sure it's in my purse. No need to go through the trouble. Oh, but it would be a shame to discover later that your passport mysteriously went missing just like mine did. Let's make sure everything is in order before we continue. Mom, maybe you should check just to be sure. We don't want any complications during our trip. This is unnecessary. I can assure you my passport is right here. Are you sure? I wouldn't want any unfortunate surprises. It's better to be safe than sorry, right? Fine, I'll check. But this is ridiculous. Seems I must have made my mistake and my passport isn't here. How interesting. It seems we both had passport mishaps. Why did you insist that my mom looked for her passport? Did you do something to it? I only did what you guys did to me. Consider us being even right now. Why would you possibly ruin our trip? What is wrong with you? That's rich coming from you. And I haven't ruined my trip. Your trip, yeah. I booked a separate trip for myself to another destination. Don't worry, I didn't mess with your trip. You can still go if you like. You'll just be going alone. Riley, why would you... You and your mother thought you guys could control my life, limit my experiences, and manipulate our relationship. But I won't let that happen anymore. I never meant for things to go this far. I just wanted what I thought was best for Keith. Well, Gertie, sometimes what you think is best for others isn't what they need or want. Goodbye. Oh, the satisfaction I felt as their expressions shifted from confusion to realization. At that moment I held the power. The tables had turned, and the taste of revenge was sweet on my tongue. I left Gertie and Keith standing there in shock, and made my way over to the gate where I would be boarding my flights to a new destination. Little did I know, this decision would lead me to good luck and learning more about myself. When I reached the new place, I felt ready to immerse myself into the new culture and do some cool things all by myself. The air in their new place was so warm and full of energy. I felt so free and happy. I enjoyed every moment with joy and a new passion for life. And guess what? I decided to try my luck and bought a lottery ticket just for fun. And you won't believe it, but I won a pretty good amount of money. It was like the universe was rewarding me for leaving my unhappy marriage. I realized that embracing my independence and love for adventure not only made me happier, but also brought me lots of good luck and riches. After my solo adventure, I felt more confident and sure of myself. I decided to divorce and have a life filled with love and respect. Now, I happily live in my own cozy condo, surrounded by things that make me happy and feel independent. I wake up each day to the peace of my own space, knowing I created a life that suits who I truly am. The experience taught me important lessons about believing in myself, being strong, and finding my happiness. It reminded me that the best revenge is living a life of growth, joy, and unapologetic